Hello, everyone. We just got back from a fun trip to a place that's not very far away that I never knew existed. I wish I had because it's really cool. This place called American Daydream that your boss Jake actually turned us on to. I'd like to go with some people. It'll be fun sometime because it is a giant, basically a really old building. It looks like a converted old barn. It's a converted old barn, and it is a huge consignment slash like thrift store with tons of retro stuff. Anything from like really cool early like 30s, 40s things to there are tons of vintage comics. Anything from like cheap stuff to $250 for this one individual action figure. Like the gamut, everything, every era and every type. So it was really cool to look through, and it was like it was overwhelming. So I'm going to go again sometime because it was a little overwhelming the first time.
A little?
There was too much.
You were very overwhelmed.
Well, and because it was more like there's some themed sections, and there's definitely some consignment things, whatever. So it was like, oh, here's some Ninja Turtle stuff. It's really cool. And then right at your corner eye, like 10 feet away, there's more Ninja Turtle stuff. So it wasn't just like everything all together. There's a lot to look at, a huge selection of VHS. So definitely would probably get even more a second trip back in like a month or two, because it looks like it moves around a lot too. But we found some cool things, and I had some good luck with Picard on my shirt today, because we found a few Star Trek things, which you would think you'd see all the time, but you never do. The old 90s Playmates figures, which I used to have a ton of as a kid. Found two. Found old McCoy from Encounter at Farpoint, and then the Unification Part 1 and 2 Spock. Really cool. Had these as a kid. So really happy to find these, and the prices were all very reasonable.
Yes.
These were only $3 a piece. A lot of the VHS were only like $3 to $8, and they had some obscure horror, but even those at 30 or 40 wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Like,
I was expecting much more.
oh yeah, and you were looking at like some different action figures and stuff, and even the books, they were like, what, it was like $3 for a lot of them? $4?
A lot of them were $2 or $3.
Yeah.
It's really good prices.
Yeah, and good, like little Goosebumps, Fear Street, like all kinds of stuff.
Good
So I found
condition
those.
too.
Yeah,
Very good condition.
yeah, everything was nice. Even had, and I was actually looking over at Amanda, and you were up the records like right by you, and on the bottom there were these two huge bins full of LaserDiscs. There's actually a lot to go through, some options. I was actually like making choices. It wasn't like grab what LaserDisc you find randomly, because that's how it normally is. But some more Star Trek. We have The Inner Light
Star Trek.
and Time's Arrow Part 1. So some really good, some favorite episodes, especially from this point in TNG. Some of my all-time favorite episodes in one thing. I've always loved Time's Arrow, and of course Inner Light is like one of those kind of go-to answers for a favorite, but really cool on LaserDisc. And they actually had two different versions of Casablanca on LaserDisc. I went with the 50th anniversary. Really like the cover. You were happy I chose this one too, right?
I like that cover.
I like the cover a lot
I've
more.
never seen it. I probably won't.
You gotta see it at some
Looks
point.
stupid.
This is our 6th copy of the movie. You gotta see it at some point. It's one of the best. It's on my list of like my like 100 favorite.
Nope.
You
I have a
to.
list of movies I'm supposed to watch.
Yeah, and it's
to
on
be
your list.
A well-rounded
It's
human
on
being.
your list. And this I'm really excited for, because there's always been this like really the small handful of Peter Sellers movies I'd never seen before. There's like a few that I'd never come across. Because most of the movies that I've found over the years growing up, it was like you saw it on TV or you saw it at the
I've
the
never
rental
seen
store.
any Peter Sellers before I met you.
Well, now you've at least seen all the Pink Panthers.
I've seen
And the
a
party.
lot of.
and the
Yeah, I've seen a
party
lot
and-
of.
Yeah.
lot
But
of
there
them
was a
now.
couple, and last year I found they released a Blu-ray copy of Hoffman, which I'd never seen before.
That was
Loved
weird.
that.
I didn't like that.
I love that one. And this is another one of those just handful
one
I'd
I
never
might
seen
like.
before. The Mouse That Roared.
Ah.
This is one that I've never seen. There's a small. There's one. Another one I haven't seen is I Love You, Alice B. Tunkless, I think is what it's called. There's a couple that I've not seen, and Battle of the Sexes. There's only a handful left that I've never seen, but never seen it, and randomly found it on LaserDisc. Look at the condition is perfect. Disc was fine. It was like $5.
It was $5, and that's to find a LaserDisc in the wild that's not
Yeah.
destroyed.
You don't anymore, and when you do,
Yeah.
it's and a lot of times it's like generic movie.
Yeah, it's very common.
Entertainment release, or like it's like the most like bottom of the barrel stuff, and like LaserDisc, it's got to be something special. And for me, like I won't get like every single thing I find, just because I already have it. But this was cool. The first 3 episodes of Lost in Space from the '60s.
I didn't realize that was the only thing that they had ever.
Yeah, because
put out.
Japan, well, for us, because Japan got a
Box
bunch
set,
box
you said.
sets, like LaserDisc box sets that they kind of look like the Star Trek ones or whatever, but we didn't really get a whole lot over here. So it was the first 3 episodes on LaserDisc. Really, really cool. This one was a little bit more to fun, but still, this was only $20.
It really
It was
wasn't.
$20, and that's not bad at all. So that was really cool. And then that's the one thing that I would probably leave with a lot more next time we go.
I was very surprised there were only 2.
I only picked 2 VHS. I can't even describe, like, wish I had like video or pictures or whatever, but it was really overwhelming. And the way it was set up, there were like 5 or 6 VHS over and over again, like 15 times. And then upstairs was like a mini video rental store. They even had the carpet looked like a 80s,
Yeah, I liked
90s.
that. I like the carpet.
And in there was a bunch of NES games and Sega Genesis and
A lot more video games than I realized.
yeah, and they even had some modern stuff. You were looking at the PS4 games for like in the corner.
They had a couple PS4 games.
But so I only left with 2, but they had a lot, and they had tons of like obscure random horror and whatever. But I picked 2 this time just for our first trip. We have from Jim Henson's Dinosaurs. Love this one. This is I'm the Baby, so it's all about the baby.
I'm the baby.
Not the mama. So that was really, really cool. Okay, I'd love to find one with Hurling Day on it. I love Hurling Day, or the mating dance. And then from Northern Exposure, another one of these that I love and man, I can't stand. We had the Big Feast.
I love how you smile when you say that.
Because it's just funny.
You love when I hate things that you love.
Because, like, the way you are, because you come in and you just like, you make a big show of it. You're so dramatic about it, like when I'm watching.
Dramatic?
Well, yeah, you like go into like uber Italian mode and just like make a big scene.
I make a big scene.
Big feast. So that was, and it was like super close by. Like,
yeah.
So that was fantastic. Couldn't believe
we didn't have to go all the way to Poconos this time.
Yeah.
Find
And
LaserDiscs.
it looks like stuff moves. Like it was busy there.
I was very surprised there were a lot of people there.
Yeah. And a variety of people. Like there was a guy who looked like he was in his 60s that had a really worn out like Mr. Science Theater t-shirt from like a live event, and then there were some like really like hipster, those parents and like the guy with the pink hair, and like they looked like a real hipster. But then there was guys looking just at the comics, and they looked like a real comic person, and there was a guy looking at the VHS. Like it seemed like a large variety of people, and they were really busy, and a bunch of kids
and
there.
people were actually buying things. I feel like a lot of thrift stores and a lot of like flea market type things is a lot of people just looking, and this wasn't a lot of people looking. There were people with things, and they knew what they were looking for, and I think it was very different than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and some like good, really expensive collector stuff, and then they had like 25-cent Pogs, and like it was everything.
Yeah, it was
really fun, and definitely one that you'll hear us talk about again at some point. We'll go back and
Stefan wants to go back right now.
No, not right now, but I do want I want to give it a little bit of time to like some new things, whatever. But it looks like there's a lot of turnover, and it was
now
cool.
We have a couple other stores that.
Yeah, because there were some areas that were consignment from other stores that exist, and they have like a little section because we found one where they found the action figures. They have a physical store that's a ton of action figures and stuff.
We'll be
so
checking that out in the future.
But anyway, so that's it for this time. I'll see you guys around.